You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
General Hospital fans, well, it sure looks like Valentin Cassadine has made his final exit, and Scarlett Cassadine is on her way back to Port Charles. But is she going to come unhinged again now that she has lost her papa? It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's dive into what is next for Lulu Spencer and her daughter Charlotte now that Valentin is gone. And please click subscribe if you're not following us. I've got to admit, I was a little let down by the lack of action after Anna and Jason burst into that house in Buenos Aires to warn Valentin that the WSB kill team was right behind them. I was expecting a shoot 'em up, a near death, something really dramatic, but we got boring. Anna told him to get Charlotte out of there, and it looked like Valentin was gonna grab his daughter, run off again. But then after Anna and Jason dealt with the WSB team and they left, then Valentin reappeared with Charlotte and told Anna what he'd already told his kid. Valentin was the one who texted Rocco Falconeri pretending to be Charlotte. He knew that word would get back to Lulu Spencer, and that's who he expected to show up to retrieve their daughter. And of course, Charlotte was completely devastated that Valentin told her to go back to Port Charles without him. And if you remember, it was Charlotte's choice to stay with Valentin because she didn't want him to be alone, and said her mom Lulu had plenty of friends and family, but Valentin only has her. But now Charlotte is being packed off to Port Chuck without her dad. And, this may be the last time that she sees Valentin for quite some time and that we see Valentin for quite some time, if we ever see him again. But don't forget, Charlotte does have this tendency to act out when she's unhappy, and especially when her unhappiness is about her dad, Valentin. If you remember, Charlotte was ruthlessly harassing and targeting Anna because she wanted her out of Valentin's life. She wanted them broken up. And if you also recall, Charlotte was behaving so badly, she broke into Anna's apartment and wound up shot because she thought it was a bad guy there to hurt her, and Anna fired her gun. And ever since she shot Charlotte, Anna has felt sick with guilt over that and very protective of her. But Charlotte's still not a fan, and she did not want to leave Valentin and go with Anna. But then Jason said, "You're coming with me." And she did. And then we got the big final scene for Valentin and Anna that was so sweet. Sparks were flying. And of course, it just makes fans of that couple want him to stick around. Anna even tried to get Valentin to come back with them and said she'd bring him in safely, but he knows that would mean life behind bars, and he wouldn't get to be with Charlotte anyway. So once their plane touches down in New York, I am sure that Lulu is going to be thrilled to have Charlotte back with her for good. What I'm not sure about is how smoothly it's going to go. And it may not be all that Lulu was hoping for, this reunion and having her daughter back permanently. Considering that Charlotte can be volatile at times, she may actually blame Lulu for her losing Valentin out of her life. Or she may blame Jason, or she may get mad at Anna all over again. She may even blame Rocco for telling Danny, who then told Jason. It's kind of hard to imagine that Charlotte is just going to step easily back into life in Port Charles and not have a lot of anger and frustration over losing her beloved papa. Valentin has raised her since birth and was pretty much her primary parent for most of her life, other than that period when he was out of town and Dante and Laura were helping raise her while Lulu was still in the coma. Despite that brief absence, the majority of Charlotte's life, it's just been her and Valentin. And now it's just going to be her and Lulu, although at least she has her brother Rocco now. But in the end, Valentin's gone. That is going to break Charlotte's heart, and there is no telling what she might do. Teenagers can be a whole lot of trouble on their best days, and being dragged back to Port Charles away from Valentin is not what she wants. I fully expect Lulu to be dealing with a whole lot of issues from Charlotte, way beyond typical teenage rebellion and angst. I mean, Charlotte might even try and run off to find Valentin so she can be with him because she's just going to miss him so terribly and doesn't want him to be alone out there on the run. To his credit, Valentin finally realized that Charlotte living life as a fugitive was less than ideal. She can't go to school like normal or have friendships or see the rest of her family or live a normal life. And I do expect that lots of people are going to tell her Valentin did the right thing by sending her back to Lulu, but that doesn't mean that Charlotte is going to accept it and just settle in and forget about having her father in her life. Now, complicating it is there's not a lot of room for Valentin to come back to Port Charles to be with her because of his crimes. You know, Jack Brennan put out a kill order on his ex-friend, and if Valentin sets one foot in town, he would probably be dead within minutes. And I doubt Anna can get Jack to relent and take back the kill order. She is going to talk to him this week, so we'll see. But if you remember, Valentin told Anna the WSB wants him dead because he knows too much. And I'm guessing that's about the shady activities with WSB and Pikeman and all that, Black Ops. I am really looking forward to seeing Charlotte's new story arc, and I presume that Scarlett Fernandez is going to stick around and we'll see her as much as we see the other teens. And even if Charlotte is unhappy in town and asked nicely, I don't think Lulu would ship her off to boarding school like Charlotte is accustomed to. And after the episode on Monday, it kind of seems like the end of an era. And I, for one, will be very sad if we never see Valentin Cassadine again. I've liked him from the first because I love James Patrick Stuart. I've seen him on a lot of other stuff. And when they cast him, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And, you know, I'll be sad. Almost as sad as Anna, who loves him still, and Charlotte, who adores her papa. And up until now, you know, when Valentin was painted into a corner, he managed to get himself out. But this time, it just doesn't seem like there's anything left to do but for him just to run and keep running. I hope the writers don't kill him off screen. You know, if they were going to do that, I would hope they would have done it off screen and given us a lot of bang for our buck. You know, not that I want him to die, but still, I really am just hoping the writers have an exciting arc planned for Scarlett Cassadine, because her coming back to town after losing her beloved dad should mean that Charlotte should be angsty and angry and stirring up a little bit of trouble. And if she doesn't, I'm going to be terribly disappointed, kind of like I was today when we didn't get a big dramatic thing. I did appreciate Valentin and Anna's goodbye. I will say that, high marks for that. But the lack of a shootout, drama, confrontation kind of thing kind of left me wanting more.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.